Hey everyone, it's Justin. Thank you for watching and welcome to Justin's House. It is the October 14th edition of SSH or ServiceNow Store highlights. I'm going to get to it real quick here so we can move on. There were last week or over the past week 59 updates in the ServiceNow Store. I've done a little bit of pre-curation here and I want to walk through this real quick. We'll start with some content updates. Our old friends at Agile have content updates for their healthcare provider ARC. For them, this is Q3 2022 content updates that they provide with their application. So if you need content updates for that app, you might want to check that out. So let's go with my filter, and I got fixes. Okay, so some fixes out there. ACL assessments for reports, that's a ServiceNow app. Agent client collector monitoring, an app by ServiceNow. AI search data labeling, data collection for Oracle Global License and advisory service, 2 DevOps pieces, DevOps data model, DevOps workspace, digital portfolio management, enterprise service management integration, flow templates for CRM, HR service delivery integration with Workday, HRSD integration with SuccessFactors, and process optimization. Most of these from ServiceNow, minor fixes. Very, very minor fixes. There's 2 exceptions to that. They're kind of right behind my head. You can see it there. Is the DevOps data model and DevOps workspace. You're going to see a little bit of that when we get to the highlight part of this episode. So let's go. Next filter is going to be not highlights yet. I want to go to performance fixes. All right. So performance fixes. There's my thing I used to draw on the screen. These are Integration Hub spokes. So you can see them here: Amazon VPC, AWS Identity Access Management, Cisco WebEx Flow Templates for Cloud Services, Flow Templates for Notifications, Microsoft Azure Artifact Spoke, Microsoft Exchange Server Spoke, SurveyMonkey Spoke, all got updates, but don't worry. The updates are performance fixes for installation of the spokes. So if you've already got it installed, you don't got to worry about it. So don't worry about those. If you've already got them, you don't really need anything from those. Next up, I want to cover new releases. So we had 6 new releases in the past week. Complaints management. This was new, coming from Infosys Technologies Limited. Basically a way to handle customer complaints and integrate that with ServiceNow. So key features here: a banking complaint catalog, complaint management portal, personas, case management, social media channel management, integration with the regulatory database, some technical features around workflows, SLAs, integration with third-party systems, and of course, reports and dashboards. So great job there, Infosys Technologies. We're looking forward to trying that app out if that applies to you. Next up is Zoom Team Chat. There's a new version, or initial version, sorry, not new version, of conversational integration with Zoom Team Chat. If you're not sure what conversational integration means in ServiceNow, that's the virtual live agent that you can put on portals, and the conversational integration is usually a live agent chatting with somebody. So that's a new integration there. Delphix. This is a version 2.0 spoke, but I have it marked for some reason as a new application. But basically introduces new I don't think it says new application. I think I marked this wrong. New catalog items in there for refresh VDB from bookmark, refresh content, new actions for the environment, creating an environment, creating VDB groups, refreshing VDB groups, and then a bunch of stuff around provisioning VDBs and rolling back VDBs. Again, I don't think this is new one. I think I messed up my tags. You know what? I'll go ahead and fix that now. And this probably should have been a highlight feature, and I'll just update that. And you can actually see how I'm managing this right here live as I'm recording this for your viewing pleasure. Next up, simple development for ServiceNow. I thought this was actually interesting. Someone's made an app to manage development around ServiceNow. It's like a simple development app. Most of us use Agile or some variation of PPM to manage development needs for ServiceNow. But if you're interested, go check out this application called Simple Development for ServiceNow. Next up, Verizon has a new app, and this is around the integration with customer and following in the following topics: alert management, incident management, change management, CMDB, and then they got a summary and all their app features. It basically says event or alert management, incident change, and CMDB of what they're doing. So essentially a nice, looks like a really nice, detailed, tight integration with Verizon. So kudos to Verizon there. That's the last of my new releases. Let's go to the next part, which is going to be the highlights. So we'll move over here to highlights. And this is probably where we'll spend the rest of our time. I've got about 32 of them. First up, Agent Client Collector for Log Analytics. There's some new stuff in there if you're using ITOM, if you're using Agent Client Collector to do some log analytics, guided setup, dynamic support for file beat parameters, fix some multi-line configuration issues, streamlined and Microsoft SQL error log thing, and some security fixes. So that's what's coming to us with that one. You'll notice I've already flagged this one as a possible video candidate. I've been wanting to play around with Agent Client Collector, so maybe that'll appear on the channel soon. BitSite for vendor risk management. So essentially, this is some new categories, ratings, risk vectors, questionnaire mappings. If you're using vendor risk management and you're using BitSite to pull in third-party vendor risk data, this is an integration for you or an update for you, so you may want to check that one out. Next up, CMDB CI class models. ServiceNow's added some support for AWS Kinesis. They've changed some parents for the CMDB CI base RPA process, and they've fixed some stuff around NIDS admin or NIDS records and Couchbase clusters coming in through the CMDB or coming into the CMDB. Delphix, that's showing up where it should now, so we can skip that one because I covered it in the new release section. DevOps, there's 3 of these. Basically, there's some fixes around the workspace linking to some page not found. There were some other issues with Rome, San Diego, Tokyo. And so basically I wanted this to highlight because you may be using DevOps change velocity, DevOps data model, DevOps insights, and all 3 of those got a nice little update in the latest release. Oh, DevOps workspace. So not 3, but 4 updates. Next, discovery and mapping patterns. Here, Kinesis makes an appearance again, but also auto-scaling with AWS. There's some fixes around Kubernetes, so if you're using Kubernetes with your discovery and service mapping patterns, you may want to take a look at that. A bunch of fixes for Amazon Web Services or AWS, virtual server, database services, stuff like that. GCP or Google Cloud Platform, there's some fixes in there. You see Kubernetes again called out, and some various stuff around disk shelf, AVI, Kubernetes, Microsoft. I don't know if that's the same thing as Microsoft. Not familiar with that one, but I thought it looked weird. Nutanix, OpenStack, and Rubrik. Some changes coming in there for discovery and service mapping features. All right, Employee Experience Pack. I've covered this in some previous videos. This is HR Service Delivery, Employee Experience Packs. Most of what you're about to see applies to San Diego, not to Tokyo, but essentially modified direct deposit, medical leave, reduction in force, planning for the unexpected, promotions, and that's it. So 4 updates for Employee Experience Pack or HR Service Delivery. So if you're using those, go get your updates, especially if you're on San Diego. If you're on Tokyo, just wait. Flashpoint RBS VulnDB. So, and basically a Flashpoint integration for vulnerability response. So if you're using that and you want to check it out, GitHub Spoke. This I kept on here because it's a fix, but there's actually a real need here around the property name coming in for organizational related actions. And then this is a good example of this version includes a fix to improve the installation performance. As you saw in the previous one, when I had the list of performance spokes, that's what I was referring to. It's basically they're fixing some stuff. GitLab, there's a fix for token expiry functionality related to GitLab webhooks. That sounded important to me, so now you know about it. If you're using the GitLab spoke, you may want to go update that. IBM Cloud Pak for Watson AI Ops. You've got some updates there, redesigned backend, some bug fixes around deduplication, and truncated URLs. So if you're using that IBM Cloud Pak, check it out. JFrog, we've got some stuff around moving, copying, and deleting artifacts, creating and updating, deleting watches, policies, managing group permissions, ingesting X-ray data into ServiceNow tables. I have no idea what most of that means, but the last one sounds pretty cool. X-ray data into ServiceNow tables. My mind's kind of excited about that. The Jira Integration Framework Spoke has some new actions. Get comment, get array of attachments from issue payload, process inbound map, get watchers for an issue, migrate attachments from Jira, generate payloads for an outbound map or vice versa, and then send record attachments to Jira. I can tell you, having worked with that integration before, this attachment stuff Really important stuff. I think it's so important I've called it out as a possible video candidate for me to show you all how that works. Next up, a journey accelerator. Back to HR service delivery. This has to do with the listening posts. There's some new features there for CSOD, Udemy, Pluralsight, SumTotal, Saba, and then integration with learning posts. And they fixed some duplicated task types and LE activity configurations. I have no idea what those two are, but this looked important if you're using Journey Accelerator. Let's see, we're getting towards the bottom. Microsoft 365 support integration. So an experimental integration of Microsoft solutions using Virtual Agent and some in-app feedback collection. Good stuff if you're using Microsoft 365. Miro Spoke got some fixes. This one was around missing input validation for a few actions, including lookup user and an update on documentation to use the least permissions. That's really important when you're doing integrations. You don't need to over assign permissions to things. So if you're using Miro Spoke, go get that update. Okta Spoke, something similar, some installation performance improvements, a documentation issue to auto-populate the authorization URL, token revocation URL, and changes to the module titles Okta groups. So if you're using Okta Scope, Okta Spoke, you might want to check that out. PDF generator by ESM Alliance. I found this one interesting too. This is a new release, so this is in the wrong place. I had two of them swapped. This initial release has been customized to generate PDFs from any type of record using UI action buttons and email notifications. And it does look like a new release, so I'm going to fix my tags while we're recording this. We'll leave the highlight there, but this should have been a new release. There we go. That's updated. We'll save the record and move on to the next one. So you may see a video on this one in the future because I found it's free and it looks interesting. RPA Hub. This applies to San Diego, not Tokyo. Some trigger issues, some bot process issues, and a studio plugin not found. So if you've been trying to mess around with RPA Hub and you had issues in San Diego, go get that fix. RPA plugin bundle. There's some unattended robot stability is now improved. And so it won't tip over? Yes? No? Okay. And then they fixed some issues with RPA Desktop Design Studio, and unintended and attended robot skill related issues are now fixed. So if you're using RPA, go check that out. Service Connector. This is a little bit of a long one. Support for San Diego, fixes for HTTP responses. I'll scroll down a little bit. Actually, let's just make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Added ability to insert update configurations, global helpers control, improved usability, asynchronous outbound response, and some bug fixing. So, Service Connector, I'm curious, is this a ServiceNow app or is this a partner? So let's check it out here real quick. This is by DXC Technology B.V. Okay, so this is not ServiceNow. So if you're using that app, there's some fixes and hot fixes in there you may be interested in. Visibility content. This is a ServiceNow app. They fixed some issues with network, IIS, Azure, F5, Amazon AWS. Oh, visibility meaning discovery. I just realized what that was. Amazon AWS, Cloud Inventory, DB2 instance, discovery for stack switches, identification attributes for the CMDB CI cluster, Linux, Oracle, pattern for PostgreSQL, DB, Tomcat patterns, and Windows OS. Okay, this is a lot of stuff, especially if you're doing discovery and you've been having some issues. Thank you, ServiceNow, for fixing that and putting that out there. So if you're using that, go update. Vivid Charts, data engagement, new features, Project Status Hub. Users who did not have Vivid Charts Builder or Vivid Charts admin can now do the following: see and use collection, see project status. Lots and lots of stuff here around projects. Improved some click-through capabilities, made some charts better. So really good stuff from Vivid Charts. They're actually actively working on that app. If you have that integration, you might want to go check that out and give that an update. Workday HR Spoke got an installation performance fix. I didn't think that was really worth sharing, except for these last two. The hire rescinded tag and the lookup workers and employment info action. There's some improvements there. That sounded important, especially hire rescinded. So if you're using a Workday HR Spoke, definitely get that tested and updated. Last one here for you folks, Yenza Jira integration framework. There's some enhancements around data, issue data to create and set variables, backend libraries, some webhook events, enhancements for grabbing attachments, and the ability to set REST API timeouts through a system property. A big week here on the ServiceNow Store side. Lots of updates, a few new releases, some fixes, and some performance tweaks. Everybody's working on their apps. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, please subscribe, or share it with somebody who you think might be interested in understanding what got updated, what got released in the ServiceNow Store. And until next time, don't forget to always be learning.